Assalamu alaikum, guys. Today our topic of discussion is slab and its types. First question that comes into our mind is that what is a slab? So slabs are basically constructed to provide a flat surfaces within a building. These are usually horizontal and these are used to make building floors, roofs, bridges or any other type of structures. These slabs can sometimes be sloping as well. This is when we use pitched roofs in some areas where there is a lot of snowfall and we wish to avoid snow loading on the roof slab. But usually a slab is a horizontal flat surface. The slab may be supported by either load-bearing walls or we can use RCC concrete beams which are monolithically joined with the slab. We can use structural steel beams or columns, or slabs can be supported by the ground as well. Types of slabs. There are various types of slabs that we use in building construction. We differentiate them according to their method of construction, the function they are used for, and the material that we use for constructing those slabs. Few of the very common types are conventional slab, flat slab, waffle slab, dome slab, pitch roof slab, corrugated slab, hardy slab and sunken slab. First of all, we are going to start with the conventional slab. This is the slab which is supported by the beams and columns. In this kind of slab, the thickness of the slab is small, but the depth of the beam is large and the load is transferred to the beams and from the beams to columns and then towards the foundation. Here if you see in the picture, this is the slab, conventional slab, and it is being supported by these horizontal members which are termed as beams and these vertical members termed as columns. So basically the load carrier are these beams and columns which are transferring the load from the top floor slab till the foundations. This type of slab requires more formwork as compared to the flat slab. We will discuss about the flat slab later. Thickness of conventional slab is 4.5 inches to 6 inches. This thickness is recommended if the slab is going to receive occasional heavy loads such as our homes. In our homes there is very light, lightweight and dead load of our furniture and wall is also very minimal. So we use this type of conventional slabs in our houses, but the only difference is that instead of using beam and columns, we use load bearing walls. So conventional slab can actually be used for the load bearing walls as well and also for the column and beam structure. These types of slabs are used in constructing floors of multi-story buildings. Now there are two ways in which these slabs can work. We can differentiate conventional slab into two types. One is one-way slab and the other one is two-way slab. As the name suggests, one-way slab is supported by beams in only two sides. This is the slab, this is the column, and these are two horizontal beams. So this one-way slab is supported by two parallel beams only. The main reinforcement is provided in only one direction for one-way slabs. The two-way slab. Two-way slab is supported by beams in all four directions. You see in this picture, all four directions are having a beam. And main reinforcement is provided on both the directions for two-way slab. Now the question comes that how we should be able to decide that we should use either one-way slab or the two-way slab. So for this we have a very simple formula that we can use. We take the length of the space or room and the breadth of the room. If the ratio of longer span, which we have termed as length L, to the shorter span panel, which we have termed as breadth B, is equal or greater than 2, then we are going to use one-way slab. And if the ratio of the longer span L to the shorter span B is less than 2, then we are going to use two-way slab. Now, how do we construct these conventional slabs? There are basically two ways in which we can cast a concrete slab. One is in situ concrete slabs, and the second one is prefabricated concrete slabs or precast concrete slabs. Let's first discuss about the in situ concrete slabs. These slabs are constructed on site and we use formwork for its construction. Formwork is a box-like setup in which concrete is poured for the construction of slab. For reinforced concrete slab, reinforcing steel bars are placed within the formwork and then the concrete is poured. These are the reinforcing steel bars that have been placed. And see, they have made a kind of block with the formwork and they have poured the concrete in a particular block. The reinforcement is entirely spread on the whole roof or slab, but they first make smaller blocks and pour concrete into it and then move on to another block. This is because they have to level it and all, and concrete mixture sets in really quickly. The other type of construction is the prefabricated concrete slabs. These are actually casted in the factory and then we transport these slabs to the site where they can be used by lowering into place between steel or concrete beams. These are kind of ready-made conventional concrete slabs. These may be pre-stressed, post-stressed or unstressed at all. The normal concrete slab has steel bars. I'm talking about the RCC slab. It has steel bars in it and in normal condition they are unstressed. Then we have a condition where we pre-stress the concrete slabs. The process is that in a mold we add the reinforcement, the reinforcing steel bars, and we introduce internal stress into the steel bars, the tensile stress, and then the concrete is poured into that mold and let to be cured. Post-stress slabs, in the molds we provide some types of hollow pipes in which the steel reinforcement, the steel bars are passed through and then we pour the concrete into that mold. Once the concrete is cured fully, we then take that slab out of the mold and then we provide stress to the steel. These are two ways that we use to provide additional strength to the concrete slab by increasing the high tensile strength of the steel and using the high compressive strength of the concrete. These type of prefabricated concrete slabs are very quick to install, but care should be taken to see that the supporting structure that has been built on the site has correct dimensions, otherwise it is going to trouble with the fitting of the slabs over the supporting structure. Next one is flat slab. Flat slab is a reinforced concrete slab which is directly supported by the concrete columns. It does not have any kind of beams to support first. It is directly supported by the concrete columns. And the load is also directly transferred from the slab to the column and then again slab to the column and finally to the foundations of the building. In this type of construction, by using a flat slab, a plain ceiling is obtained, which gives us a very attractive appearance from an architectural point of view. Flat slab is easier to construct and it requires less formwork. The minimum thickness for the flat slab is 8 inches. Flat slabs are generally used in parking decks, commercial buildings, hotels, or places where beam projections are not desired. Because it doesn't look nice that in a hotel room you're looking at the ceiling and there is a drop beam that you can see. It doesn't look nice at all. Plain flat ceiling would be much nicer to look at, although they have provided false ceiling construction in the hotel rooms, but the false ceiling would also be hindered if there is a drop beam there. Using a flat slab is ideal there. There are four different types of flat slabs. The first one is it is a slab which is resting on the column directly. The column does not have any capital and there is no drop panel with the slab as well. Just simple like this. Then we have a flat slab with no drop panel and the column has a column head. This column head is actually providing the extra surface along with the column on which the slab is going to rest. It increases the connection and the bonding between the slab and the column. Next one is slab with drop panel and column without column head. This drop panel will be attached with the slab itself or will be casted monolithically with the slab, and this drop panel slab will be resting directly on the column with no column head. And then we have a slab which does have a drop panel monolithically casted with the slab, and the column also has the head on it, the capital on it. Providing these type of drop panels and column head are going to increase the surface area that gets in contact from the column to the slab, hence allowing the load to be properly transferred from the slab to the column. Next is waffle slab. A waffle slab is a type of slab with holes underneath, just like this, giving an appearance of waffles. Waffles is actually the name of a shape. We use waffle slabs where we are required to provide large spans, for example, auditoriums and cinema halls, and we do not wish that the columns interfere that space because that column and beam structure has its own limitations. We cannot provide column beams structure for span more than say 30 feet or so. So if we wish to provide a space with no column interruptions, therefore we have to devise some other ways of constructing a roof slab that can provide us hindrance-free space. For that reason, we require thick slabs that can span between wide beams to avoid the beams protruding below for the aesthetic reasons. Waffle slab holds a greater amount of load as compared to the conventional concrete slab because of its shape. The casting forms or molds are required for precasting these units, but these are very costly and we use them where the large scale production is required. Only then they become economical in construction. Construction also requires strict supervision as well as skilled labor. Not every labor can construct a waffle slab. There are two types of waffle slabs depending upon the shape of the pots. Pots are actually the PVC trays, molds actually. They are classified into two: triangular pot system, the molds which are triangular in shape and cast triangular waffle slab, and there is a square pot system like this, square modules which are going to cast square waffle slab. Then another form that we can use for spanning large spaces is a dome slab. Domes are actually the semicircle in shape and the shuttering is done in a similar way as we use it for a conventional slab, but in a dome shape, and then the concrete is filled in that shuttering forming dome shapes. The thickness of this slab, this dome slab, is very less. It's only 0.15 meters. These kind of slabs are generally constructed in temples, mosques or palaces, etc. Pitch roof slabs. Pitch roof is an inclined slab, a slab which has a slope, and it is generally constructed in areas where there is snowfall so that the roofs can avoid the snow loading on them. And sometimes we also provide these types of pitched roofs in resorts so that the buildings over there can give a natural look to us. Compared to the traditional roofing materials, the uh, typical tile sheets that we use in the pitched roof slabs are extremely lightweight, these tiles. For this reason, this type of roof slab is going to reduce significantly the amount of timber or steel structural requirements, which will ultimately result in the significant cost savings. The thickness of the slab depends on the tiles that we are using. It may vary from 2 inches till 8 inches. It sheds off rainwater and snow better. It also gives you internal storage or room space, which we call attic. This is just like a conventional slab, but it is poured on an inclination. This type of slab is not suggested when longer spans are required. Corrugated slab. The difference between this slab and normal concrete slab is that the concrete is poured over this corrugated steel tray. This formation, this shape is termed as corrugation. By pouring the concrete onto this corrugated sheet, as a result, the corrugated concrete slab which is formed, it improves the strength and it prevents the slab bending under its own weight. The corrugation always runs across the shorter dimension. For example, if a room has a length of say 50 feet and a width of 30 feet, this corrugation slab is going to be placed on the width side, which is across the 30 feet. Next one is hardy slab. Hardy slabs are used where temperatures are very high, and to resist the temperature from the top, the slab thickness is increased. These are made out of hardy bricks. Hardy bricks look like this, and this construction of hardy slabs is very much common in Dubai and China. Hardy bricks are hollow bricks and they are made up of concrete. Since they are hollow, they have more slab thickness and they are used to fill portions of the slab. But as we are making these concrete blocks hollow from inside, we are saving the amount of concrete, hence the own weight of the slab is reduced. That means that they are wide enough, they are thick enough, but they have less weight. This kind of slab has more thickness when we compare it to the conventional slab. The thickness of the hardy slab is 0.27 meters. The use of this hardy slab is not at all economical for the smaller spans. They are difficult to repair and they cannot be strengthened once there is a damage in the slab. The last one is the sunken slab. This is a slab which we provide below the washrooms to hide the sewage pipes. Since the pipe that carry water is concealed below the floor, care has to be taken to avoid any kind of leakage problems. For example, here in this picture, you can see this toiletry having a P-trap, and below this, to conceal this pipe, we have provided a sunken slab. This is the same sunken slab that we use above our bathroom on the ground floor. That sunken slab is going to conceal the sewage pipes from the toilets, WC and wash basin, etc., which is going to be placed on the first floor. After casting the sewage pipes in the slab is filled with coal or broken pieces of bricks. We mostly use broken pieces of bricks, which is also called brick ballast in our houses. So that is all about the basic information regarding the slabs that we use in building construction. Hope it was very easy and understandable for you as a beginner. Thank you very much.